on a beautiful fall afternoon here at Doyle Field. We welcome you to Pod 8 playoff coverage here on Rivalry Family Media. A very good evening, everyone. Alongside Bill Thomas, Todd Robbins, happy to have you along with us. Should be a fantastic afternoon of action in Pod 8 playoff action. 5 teams, remember, in this original pod of action that came together for this Fall 1 season. Boys soccer here now down to its semifinal. There was a play-in game played between the 4th and 5th seed in this group, which was Shrewsbury and Wachusett. Shrewsbury won that game 2-1. Shrewsbury then joins the 4 teams in the semifinal. Shrewsbury plays Algonquin, who was the top seed. That game going on elsewhere today. And Leominster plays host to Westborough. That's the action you're going to see right here on Rivalry Family Media. Great to have you along with us. The Blue Devils come into this semifinal action with a 4-3-1 overall record, the 2nd seed in this pod. Meanwhile, Westborough 2-2-4, the 3rd overall seed in action. 2 previous meetings between these 2 teams. The first one, a Leominster victory by a 2-1 margin back on October the 8th, and then a 0-0 draw on the 27th of October. Bill Thomas, it's hard enough playing a team a 3rd time in a season. It's even more difficult to play a team that you've only beat by a combined 1 goal in 2 games.
Yeah, and I think the key to this game tonight is going to be goalkeeping. You know, we've seen both goalkeepers be very stingy the latter half of the season. Both teams closed out the season, the regular season, on a high note. Leominster coming in here with 3 wins in a row, started that off with a draw, so they're unbeaten in 4. And Westborough has either drawn or won 3 out of the last 4. So, but I look at the scores in Leominster almost every game. It's been a close game, a 1-0, 2-1s, you know, and those are pressure games. And I think that might play into Leominster's favor tonight as far as the pressure that we're going to see involved in this playoff match.
Well, and when you look at this this Westborough action and kind of the way things have gone, 4 draws in a given season. 4 draws, and they've played to their competition in all of those draws, whether it's a 1-1 split, whether it's a 3-3 split, whether it's a 0-0 split.
Which way the game seems to go.
Westborough is like a microcosm of how Pod 8 boys soccer has been this year. Every team is maybe a half a goal better than one another on any given day as we go through the process. As the teams begin their introductions down and out on the field, we're looking forward to seeing where this action goes today, Bill Thomas. I think when you see these 2 teams, just how evenly matched they have been, really you've got to look at the last couple of games they've played. Back, we talk about that 0-0 draw on the 27th of October. From there, Westborough, a 5-2 loss to Algonquin, and then a 2-1 win over Shrewsbury to close out their season. Meanwhile, again, we go back to that 0-0 draw between Westborough and Leominster. On Leominster's side, 3 straight victories. 1-0 over Shrewsbury, 1-0 over Wachusett, 3-1 over Shrewsbury, 2 wins over Shrewsbury in their final 3 games of the 8-game regular season. Dead even. Leominster 1 more goal better than Shrewsbury in their last game, winning 3-1 versus Shrewsbury's 2-1 victory. I mean, the margins, Bill Thomas, on this game are tight. Very
if
tight.
I do see a difference, it could be defensively. I would give Leominster a slight edge defensively based on scores over the course of the season. Like I say, a lot of 1-0, 2-1 games that Leominster's been involved in, and that could play out in their favor. They just need that one good push and then play defense like they're used to playing.
As the teams, players, and officials take the field, and Leominster's starting lineup will be introduced here by public address announcer Dick Tucker. We also take note of the 3 yellow jerseys that are out on the field today. Mid-Wach Pod 8 has employed 3 officials for this playoff action, which will involve a center referee and 2 assistant referees, one that will run in that push-pull fashion that we're used to seeing throughout the regular season. So they'll call the lines and the offsides, and meanwhile, the center, any of the other infractions going on out on the field will be the responsibility of the head referee moving around in the action, Bill Thomas, which means that that second-to-last defender mark for offsides is going to be that much more important that players are aware of where their bodies are.
Well, it's the first time we've seen 3 officials this year, boys or girls, and we are going to see a much more closely officiated game, and the officials will be able to keep up with the action up and down on the sideline. So it'll be interesting to see how closely they call this game tonight. Got to look for those offsides because the officials will be in position tonight.
Indeed they will, as they ready the field for action final introductions for the Blue Devils as they continue here in stadium. National anthem coming up, and happy to have you along with us here on Rivalry Family Media. Same day delay this action earlier this afternoon, facebook.com/Media Rivalry for the coverage, and then available on demand like all of the great action here on RFM on YouTube. Search and subscribe to Rivalry Family Media today. And let's join on this Veterans Day. We say thank you very much to each and every veteran that has served in defense of our country. And at that note, here's our national anthem.
Thank you. Please face to the west. Beautiful U.S. flag with America with the playing of our national anthem.
And that is our national anthem here at historic Doyle Field, as we said, leading in. On this Veterans Day Wednesday, is there a better day to celebrate freedom in this country than with boys soccer here on RFM? Leominster and Westborough set for playoff action. First possession will belong to the Rangers as we await the opening kickoff. Rangers wearing the road white tops, white bottoms, white socks, trimmed in garnet. Westborough across the front, Rangers across the back nameplate. Leominster wearing the home royal blue tops, royal blue bottoms, trimmed in white with the royal blue socks, white numerals front and back. Leominster across the chest as Leominster goes right to left here in the first half of action. And Bill Thomas, what we've seen between these two teams, connections in particular for Leominster. As their game has gotten better, they have made better connections with one another, moving the ball down the field.
Well, what I see, Todd, and I'm basing this mainly on the scores, is that they're playing good defense. They're taking care of the passes. They're not letting the offense catch them off guard. And, you know, they're taking advantage of their opportunities. That's how you win one-goal games.
Goal kick to open things for the Rangers, knocked down by Leominster right around the midfield. And away we go. Leominster again with this second possession of the game.
This is, and what I see in here is patience too, Todd. I think we're going to have to see which team is more patient, not get frustrated, because we're going to see a lot of defense midfield tonight, I think.
Booth makes a connection with Bonilla along the right touch line, and back and forth Leominster plays with no particular hurry here in the early going, with just about a minute and a half gone by. Rangers with the strip, chip back through the middle of the field. This is Wright. Wright makes a connection going down the far side looking for Campbell. Campbell tries to center, and Leominster will drive it away. That's Pickett stepping up to knock the ball away. Leominster decides to go all the way back to Truong, who will come out with a long-distance drive downfield. Leominster able to make the play onside, and now the connection. This is Miller. Miller for Bonilla. Bonilla from the right touchline looks for a center, and it's steered away smartly there by Awika. So nice, they named him twice, Bill Thomas. Awika.
Makes it easier for us.
That's an awesome,
awesome
awesome soccer name.
That is. That fits perfectly, and he plays up to that name, too. You know, we see the official has the flag. I mean, they're not sparing any expense today as far as what they bring into the game from the official side tonight.
No question about it. Leominster off of this COVID corner. Remember, they'll make a connection in order to drive the ball to the middle as they can't lift it off the first kick. Ball stripped, sent back toward the middle of the field, raced down there by Nasir along the touchline, and then whistled out across the touchline. Possession to Leominster on the restart.
You know, Kate and I were you doing the game when we kept seeing the goal kicks that were being called back? You were here for that game, past the 50.
Indeed,
yeah.
I'm wondering
if we're
going to
see that. I'm curious on if the boys are going to get caught on that today.
Ball across the near touchline. Possession for Leominster, and Damaris will have the restart. Just on Leominster's side of midfield. Had an opportunity to exchange emails with Coach Steve McCaughey, and he was talking about Dan Damaris and the fact that he won the left back job earlier in the season. And as Coach points out, he has proven his ability game after game, winning that job after not playing a minute for the varsity squad last year.
Well, the coach says, you know, he's got a rotation of about 14 kids. You know, you get 10 on offense at all times, but he's become part of that core group. And all it took was one solid year at the JV level, and here he is.
Stalemate bounces the ball loose. It's scooped up by the keeper. And a punt sends the ball back toward the middle of the field. That's Cupertino, knocks it back through the box, down to the near side, and eventually rolls out across the touchline. You can very much feel it, Bill Thomas. This has got the feeling in the early going of a boxing match. Two fighters sitting in the middle of the ring, just kind of pawing at one another, trying to feel each other out.
Right, early rounds here. Like I say, Leominster showing great patience. You know, I was about to say not careless with their passes as Westborough steps right into the passing lane, but showing a lot of patience here early on.
This is Cupertino. Tries to set up to the edge for Andy Truong, and he zigged when he should have zagged.
Exactly.
And the ball crosses the touchline back to the Rangers.
Passed it to the coach.
Indeed. Delgado off the chip in from Richard.
Oh, they didn't like the way that restart was.
And they weren't waiting for the whistle there.
You know, we commented in field hockey the other day, nobody waits for the whistle in field hockey. I mean, if you get caught off guard, especially with the line changes, very interesting game.
No question about it. This is Nunes through the middle of the field. Looks for right and denied. Ball sent back down the field by the Blue Devils. Chipped out of the air. It finds Bonilla. Bonilla with a strike opportunity wide of the top corner, and goal kick for the Rangers.
A little anxious there maybe. Could have maybe got a settle and a dribble, get a little closer, but great opportunity there early on for Bonilla. Of course, it's much easier to say up here when we're watching him chase a bouncing ball with somebody hanging on his hip. Kick it as soon as you can.
And Danry Jimenez made a nice connection there as well, as he was able to pull it out of the air and set up Bonilla's ability to move through the middle of the two players that were defending. Jimenez tries to make that connection there, and Awika sends it back down through the middle of the field. Damaris with a high knee brings it down and then bounces it across the near touchline, and the flag says Blue Devil ball. And too quickly, once again, Leominster
once again, waiting for that whistle. It's
very deliberate pace to the action in the early going.
Much different game, though. I got a comment about the way they just wait and more stoic, gentlemanly. Everybody ready?
Cupertino down the left touchline. Smartly touched with the heel of Miller, but taken away by Delgado. Battle for the ball. Cupertino wrapped up with Delgado. And they say Delgado strong-armed him. Ball back to Leominster.
Gets the push there.
Miller's got the indirect free kick. He's going to work with Damaris. It'll be a touch and then drive. There's the touch, and now curls the ball to the middle of the field. Chipped out of the air, over the top of the keeper, and into the back of the nets.
How that got past that wall there, I'm not really sure, but great job right there.
Great drag by Miller into the middle of the field, and then it was pulled out of the air by Jimenez.
Is that number 8? Is that who got that?
It was either Cupertino or Jimenez that got the foot on it and chipped it over the top of the keeper into the top corner, yes.
They were together there in front of the keeper with a couple of defenders.
1-0 Leominster with the first strike, 13:40 to play in the first quarter.
See who gets credit for the goal here.
And so the Rangers immediately thrown back on their heels. So they credit Danry Jimenez with the goal. The assist will go to Miller on the drag with the long distance curl to set him up. And whistle for the contact. Push called against Leominster. It'll be Rangers' advantage on the restart.
Pretty goal there, though. Just dropped that right in front of the two defenders, and Leominster's forwards took advantage of that situation very nicely.
Awika pinches up from the back line, rifles it off a Blue Devil. It was Gilio. And now Miller makes the steal. Miller to Bonilla, and the race is on. Rangers back for it there. Dean will send it to the back line, and forward it comes back toward midfield. Knocked down to the near side. This is Fitzgibbon. Stripped away by Delgado. Delgado makes a connection there for Nasir. Nasir tries the lead man pass for right. It's denied temporarily.
Quick
and
foot
Leominster
right there by the defender.
Makes the connection going the other way. It was Perez.
Nice job to turn the offense.
Working with Booth.
Turn it back the other way.
All the way down the right touch line. Scooped up there by the keeper. 12-10 to play here in the first quarter. 1-0 Leominster's lead, and this will be a long-distance throw up the side. Driven down by the Blue Devils. That one touched by an elbow. Crossed the far touch line, and flag says Blue Devil ball. The tip, and here's the drive by Miller again. Downfield, diving and scooped out of the air this time by the keeper, who is not going to get beat with a little chip in front this time.
Similar type setup, only from the right side of the field. A good job by the keeper to recognize that.
And that ball clears the midfield line.
There we go,
and
first time.
Back the other way it goes.
I was wondering, we had a couple of close ones, but the players put their bodies on it right near midfield. But, yeah, officials on top of that.
And so on the restart, it'll be Leominster ball. The touch from Gilio. Gilio for Cupertino. Sends it over the top of the referee. Comes to the near side. Knocked down out of the air this time by Fitzgibbon. Across the touchline. Leominster maintains the advantage as we pass under 11 minutes here in the first quarter.
So quickly, if you're curious on why play was stopped there, goalkeeper cannot take a goal kick that goes beyond the 50, or it's a turnover to the other team at the 50. So
Miller races on the restart, looks to center and rifles it off the side of the post and across the end line. Goal kick Rangers.
Quick offensive spurt right there.
He exploded off the sideline, working with Damaris on the touchline. And this is McDermott, the keeper on the restart. He's got the cue to begin play, and he'll send it up the left side of the field. Played off a chest. Cupertino challenges there against Farrier. Farrier battles with Bonilla. Bonilla looks to center. Knocked down through the air and falling down. Shot sent by Truong left of the net across the end line.
Nice job there by the right side of the Leominster offense. Create that opportunity midfield at about the 16 to 20 yard line.
And McDermott again will have the restart. So we pass under the halfway point of the first quarter in a 1-0 Leominster lead. Out of the air, Truong off a shoulder. Kept up there by Miller into the near side, cross the touchline. Flag favors Westborough. Richard will move his way up, chip it into Delgado. Now Delgado, the long lift down the left touchline, picked out of the air by Pickett. Sent right back across the touchline. Rangers will move up. They'll have the ball on the restart. Richard looking to pick his spot, working with Delgado. Chip in. Delgado works to the outside this time. It's challenged by Damaris. Rifled it off Nasir, but they say it was a last touch Leominster. Ranger ball. Cue to restart. This is Richard for Delgado. Delgado curls, middle of the box. Leominster player there to drive it away was Jimenez. And then popped up in the air as the battle will go down the right touchline. Bonilla playing back on the challenge from Farrier. Bonilla faked himself out of his own hot pink shoes, and a whistle for a push, and the favor is Leominster on the restart.
Good job right there off of that play in and half side corner kick there. Nobody on the weak side for Westborough, so Leominster did a good job clearing that out of there away from the goal.
This is Gilio. Up for Miller.
Fancy footwork.
Indeed.
A little dribbling.
That was Truong. Sent it to the middle for Bonilla. Now Truong gets it back, sends it right back to Bonilla. Splits the wickets, race to the outside. Won there by the Rangers, and Dean will turn the head of the action back across midfield. Slips a defender, does Nasir. Nasir down the left touchline. Looks to center for right. Denied by the Blue Devil defense. It was Gilio pinching back. And then sent long distance on net by Farrier and snared out of the air there by Truong.
Well, that's been Truong's Achilles heel of those high lob shots, so good to see him snagging that. It's nice and solid right there.
That was Andy Truong, caught a little forearm in the back by Fitzgibbon, scrambling back into the play, and now Awika turns the tide for the Rangers. Awika sends it down in front, looking to win the race, but it was Booth first to the ball. Across the touchline it goes, and it'll be Leominster ball. And Leominster will make a substitution on the near sideline. This is Halstead, who will join the action to spell the goal scorer, Jimenez. Gilio on the restart from the left touchline. Popped up, beat off Bonilla a couple of times, and now Halstead right into the action, racing out in front. He gets cut down. It favors Leominster. They say on a Ranger touch. A lot of bodies flying around the field, Bill Thomas.
Yeah, but I tell you, officials are letting them play for the most part. We're just getting a side out here. Nothing called on the field. They're letting them play, and
Damaris and Miller.
as long as they don't get too aggressive.
Miller tried to split a set of defenders, can't do it. Turned away by Fitzgibbon up the touchline right. Flag is up, favors Leominster.
Aaron, kick right there.
Indeed.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it. He didn't.
And they
He's
lift
paying
it back
attention.
up.
Good job. Gets a hand from the crowd.
To the near side, it's Miller with Damaris. Nice connection made with Truong through the middle of the field. He looks to center. It was sliding back in the play. Perez, now from the back line, moved forward this time. It was Booth, knocked down in a crowd, brought out of the air by McDermott, barrel roll away from the play, and McDermott will race up with the ball for the Rangers.
Good aggressive play by the Leominster forwards. A couple of opportunities there, just could not get the shot on goal.
The one hop to midfield, a little nifty back kick by right from the heel, through Nasir. Back out from the edge to Farrier. Tried to center, Pickett, won't let it go through the middle of the field. He makes a connection this time with Miller. Miller races it out to the edge for Perez. Perez, stalemate. Perez goes flying on the play, but driven back up the field by right. Check it, Dean over on the far side. This is Truong with Booth. And now launched downfield. Halstead, the race. Keeper McDermott out, tries to scoop it, and he's able to keep it close to his own possession.
Almost let it get away from him there.
As we pass under the 5-minute mark of the first quarter of this Pod 8 semifinal, the 2-3 matchup, the second-seeded Blue Devils, the third-seeded Rangers. Miller, with a bunch of Rangers in pursuit, tries to move it ahead to Bonilla.
Ooh, that was in
and
the
there
box.
was a push from behind.
We're going to get something out of that?
Official's going to come
Everybody's
forward
looking.
here.
Where did it happen? No.
And the foam is out. It'll be a free kick for Leominster.
Explain what the foam is, Todd.
So the foam is an officiating tool. We
this.
don't often see it at high school level, but basically it marks the point of the kick. It will mark the point where the theoretical wall can set up, but of course, remember, that's one of those COVID modifications. On the free kick, Miller with a nice curve. It's blocked out of the air by McDermott and then smothered on the field.
Great job by the keeper right there.
Control is the Rangers. Coming up the left touch line, there's a shove, and it will be Ranger ball.
Oh, nice.
Under 4 to play here in the first quarter and a 1-0 Leominster lead. Happy to have you along with us here on Rivalry Family Media. We say a very special hello to all of our veterans joining us today on this Veterans Day, as well as a special hello to those of you joining us from Westborough, as you have throughout the matchups between Leominster and Westborough here at Doyle Field throughout this Fall 1 COVID-modified season. Ball knocked out of the air. Battle turned on net out of a crowd. Center mass catch by Truong. And a nice job there by Dean to bend it on net.
Truong had it all the way. Nice job. Saw it right off the foot.
Truong will pop it up in the air, comes toward midfield. It's tapped by Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon for Delgado. Delgado looks for Farrier on the left edge, couldn't find him, played off a shoulder of Booth, and Booth through the middle of the field. This is Awika. Awika battles back, chips it out to the edge, tries to make a connection with Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon off the chin of Damaris and across the touchline. Ranger ball. Beautifully temperate day, Bill Thomas. You don't have the sun, the Chamber of Commerce day that you love to talk about there. We've got some high clouds, and it's a bit of a gray day. But as weather-wise goes, on the 11th of November, bank it. We'll take it.
I'll take the temperature over the sun. 70 degrees with clouds, I can live with that. But I do love my sun. But this is just great fall weather. We're used to playing football in the rain and the muck this time of year, but this is great for this sport right here. A lot of running around, and kids enjoying themselves. Not being encumbered by the weather.
Coach McCaughey having a conversation with the center official as they wait the restart. Damaris for Cupertino. Let the ball roll a little bit and then drives it downfield. Halstead plays it off his chest. Forward it goes through Delgado. Delgado moves it forward for Wright. Wright taken by Nasir. Nasir back to Delgado, gets it right back to Nasir, working on Cupertino, out to the edge, makes a connection there with Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon for Nasir, falling down, it's centered and driven away by Perez, pinching back on defense, and Leominster will drive it across the touchline. Rangers will have to try a re-entry.
Leominster defenders quick to clear out there in front of the goal, good job, get a reset.
This was Richard, out of the air by Miller. Miller plays it forward to Halstead. Halstead sends it a little too long. Bonilla couldn't get it while being onside, and McDermott will ground ball scoop it as we fall under the 2-minute mark of this first quarter. Jimenez, the first quarter goal scorer, plays it on toward net. One bounce, played chest height there securely by McDermott.
Not taking any chances in rushing that one.
Can't blame him. Bouncing ball. Played by Perez. Perez looks forward, not able to make a connection there, and there's a push called on Leominster's Perez. Ranger ball. Roughly a minute to play here in the first quarter. 1-0. Leominster's advantage. Officials try to set Bonilla with the proper 10-foot distance for the restart.
He's in no hurry. He knows the quarter's winding down.
That's right.
Smart player.
Delgado, middle of the field, out of the air by Miller, forward through Halstead. Now Bonilla tries to get on the race to the near side, and there's a push. Bonilla worked his advantage. A little pushing and shoving as a conversation ensues at the midfield, and the officials will stop the clock and do a little preventative officiating. Conversation with Bonilla.
Just the conversation up to this point, which I think is good officiating.
Absolutely. You want to make sure you don't start to lose your head in the waning seconds of the first quarter.
You don't want to take all emotions out of the game, though. You got to leave some there.
And there's the whistle to begin play. Dean launches toward the box. Awika, back heel to the near side, knocked down by Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon pushed from behind, maybe cut out there by Truong. Loose ball bounces wide to the touchline. Leominster wins the advantage, and there's the whistle to end the first quarter. A flurry of action, but the Rangers fail to score. Leominster stands up on defense. 1-0 Blue Devils through one quarter here at Doyle Field. What a quarter it's been, Bill Thomas.
What a way to end it, and I expect 3 more quarters of very similar type action there. A quick flurry right there in the final seconds of that first quarter, and Leominster was able to clear that goal. If they've been doing the first 20 minutes, doing a great job doing.
3 more quarters of pod playoff action in boys soccer between Leominster and Westborough. 1-0 Leominster through 1. More to come. This is RFM. And back inside historic Doyle Field for second quarter action. Cloud cover continues to thicken during that break between quarters. As it gets a little grayer, the lights are on here at historic Doyle Field as we get ready for second quarter action. Leominster with the 1-0 lead through one quarter of this Pod 8-2-3 matchup. Leominster the 2nd seed, Westborough the 3 seed. The Rangers, as we mentioned off the top of the broadcast, for those of you just joining us, 4 draws in 8 games. Half of their games had no result. So, Bill Thomas, if you were going to guess if they were involved, and these 2 teams, by the way, have already played to a draw this year. If you had to guess, wouldn't you wager toward a potential stalemate through 4 quarters?
Well, knowing Westborough's history, you would think that. But I tell you, Leominster's been playing great with the lead. They've won a number of 1-0 games, and you know, if this game plays out that way, the way Leominster's playing midfield defense and clearing the front of the goal, I would fully expect that 1 goal to stand up at this point.
First kick in the second quarter belonged to Leominster. It got driven all the way down to McDermott, who will scoop it up and punt the ball up in the air. Just 15 seconds gone by in the second quarter. Pickett will play it out of the pack. He'll drive it over to Booth on the right touchline. Booth tries to go through the center of the field. Denied. Not going there, says Nunes. Cut back in on the edge by Faria. And yeah, a draw as 2 players smack the ball. One of them was Booth for Leominster. And a loose ball comes over to the near edge. This is Jimenez. Jimenez forward for Perez. Perez lost control of it as the flag goes up along the touchline. Just too loose on the dribble, Bill Thomas.
Let it drift on him off to the left. We're talking the yellow line right there, and it just rolled over it. I tell you, so many lines down there, sometimes you lose track of which one we're playing, but the yellow line is the soccer line.
That is correct. Yellow makes the soccer lines across the field. Noticing, Bill Thomas, on the charts out here, a little bit of droplets from the air.
Well, I was wondering.
Atmospheric sweating?
You know, we were talking about, you know, what great weather we're experiencing today. But, you know, originally this game was a 6 o'clock schedule for first kick. And I wonder if that had something to do with moving up, maybe some pending weather on our way. And MIAA thinking day off today, let's do the right thing, get everybody in and out.
The call is a free kick for the Rangers. And Nasir will have the kick. He's going to buddy up with Nunes. Pack forms up in front of the box. Nasir steps back, and he'll send it down the line. And there's a whistle. I believe that signal is a COVID call. Yeah, he picked it up above the knees, I guess. And the ball, they say, belongs to Leominster.
So we needed another player over there to do the double tap.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, and I think sometimes the players are confused whether it's direct, indirect. You need the second kick. It's a COVID violation. I mean, we've seen a number of different scenarios where play's been stopped, and you know, we can only assume that you know, it has something to do with one of the new rules that everybody's not all that familiar with, much like that right there. You need that first tap.
That's right. And Cupertino with the touch out for Gilio. Gilio through the middle of the field, skips by Perez up to Halstead before being driven back by the Rangers and Richard.
And it's not up to the officials, we might add, to remind the kids about that. They need to know, and the officials are enforcing the rules.
That's right. Ball bounces across the touchline near, and it favors the Rangers.
You know, and I might be thinking too, why aren't the officials telling them that? Why aren't they reminding them? Well, it's not the officials' job to remind them.
That's right. Their job to call what they see at the end of the day, Bill Thomas.
But, you know, officiating, you might impart a little wisdom on occasion, but you're there to enforce the rules.
Off the touch, Delgado floats it to the box. Picked out of the air by Booth. Popped off the chest of a leaping Nasir, and Nasir stays with the ball. Nasir, back he goes for Nunes. Nunes decides to challenge Perez, and Perez with the arm bar, and they say it will favor the Rangers on a free kick.
That was a little ticky-tack. We were just giving them credit for letting them play, and they were kind of holding hands there. But
the soccer equivalent to a hand check call? Is that what we're looking at there? Second quarter hand check call, Bill Thomas?
Their call for
at least it's in the first half.
Holding downfield. Automatic first down.
So Nunes and Nasir will have the ball in the restart. Leominster's defense and the Rangers try to clog up the middle of the field at the top of the box. The touch, Nasir the drive. Pickett knocked it down, and then it was cleared by Leominster. Back over the midfield line, and it was raced down there by the Rangers. Played forward from the back line by Boyle. Boyle throws it out in front of Awika. Awika working with Pickett. Bounced to the near side, and right down at the corner, the flag favors Leominster. 15:45 to play in the second quarter. 1-0 Leominster's lead.
How imposing is Awika out there, though? He's just head and shoulders above everybody. He plays like that, too. You can just see that little edge that he's playing with.
Strong body, Bill Thomas, and he knows he's in among folks that are giving up at least a foot to a foot and a half in every circumstance. Damaris with the touch forward to Cupertino. Cupertino, Jimenez plays it with the cleat, and Awika sends it out to the near side. Battled off a shoulder as Silva bodied up that time with Truong. Crosses the touch line, favors the Rangers. Delgado faked the outside, went in for Nasir. Connection for Silva. Bouncing ball, Truong caught up there, and this was Perez. He goes flying over the ball, and they say it was a push on the Rangers, and so it'll be Leominster ball in the restart. And this is Gilio. Gets the whistle, and Gilio sends it downfield long. Looking for Jimenez. Skipped by him for Richard. Richard will defend. Let the ball roll across the end line. Goal kick for the Rangers. Back to that feeling out period, Bill Thomas. We had a couple of flurries of action in the first quarter, and now we're back to that feeling of that, just kind of stick and move, jab, 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 step out. Both players back and forth for both teams.
Well, I think what we're seeing is a little difference in offensive philosophy, too. Leominster seems to be more patient, working the midfield, the give and goes, and the triangles, where Westborough is constantly trying to push the ball up, sideline to midfield, not working too many triangles, always looking for that give and go, push, push, push. A little different offensive philosophy, I think, from coaching style to coaching style.
The leap successfully no heads, but then there is a push. Miller got called for it coming out of the pile, and the ball will favor the Rangers on the restart. And they said it's an indirect free kick, and so Boyle now possesses. He's going to work the start with Delgado. The touch. Delgado sets it up with the right leg. Drive toward the middle of the field. Knocked down there by Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon looking for Faria, pinching in from the left touchline. Faria pulls loose. He rifles it over the top bar and off the crossbar of the goalpost. And down it comes. Goal kick for Leominster.
Hit the crossbar, but not the one we care about.
That's right. That one a little high and outside.
Hit that back crossbar on the football goalpost.
And you can see Bill Thomas, he was kicking that into the wind. Wind now driving, as we look at the American flag, hard from left to right across the playing surface. Farrier swings a leg through the middle of the air. This was Nasir. Moved it forward for Fitzgibbon. Truong way out of his box. And he will scoop it up.
Good smart move right there. The offensive player was bearing down on him. Had the defender beat, it looked like, and he was onside.
Truong pops it straight up into that breeze. It will bounce, take a huge high hop, and then there's a push called there on John Lima, seeing some of his first action of the day. This is Nunes. Nunes for Awika. Through the middle of the field, touched off a heel. Nasir. Nasir goes back for Nunes. Perez slows it down, and Cupertino clears it out for the Blue Devils. Race for the ball back on the Ranger end. It's knocked down, race to the touch line, and no flag up in either direction. And a substitution coming in. They'll say Blue Devil ball. Damaris and Miller will work the restart from the left touch line. There's a conversation, it looked like, down on the field, Bill Thomas, about where the ball was supposed to go or who was where on the play at the stoppage.
Somebody's coming off here for some reason.
Yeah, perhaps not the right amount of... Oh, actually, it looks like there's a substitution being allowed. So Jimenez comes to the near side, and Halstead in.
Wasn't sent off, but I wonder if there's...
I'm thinking a little medical attention, perhaps a communicable disease rule
could be
issue.
A little blood or something, a finger or something.
So here's Miller racing off the restart to the edge, and he ran out of real estate. It's chipped off of a leg, and now it'll be a corner for the Blue Devils.
I think he actually just changed his mask, Todd, so I think he had
maybe a
strap,
rip or a tear in it.
Strap problem, and he was holding his mask. Holding his mask as he came off, so looking to get back in the game as soon as he can.
Under 11 minutes here in the second quarter. Damaris sets it up for Miller. Had it poked away. Damaris scoops it and clears it across the line. And so the ball will go back to the Rangers. Goal kick for McDermott. McDermott will set it up on the corner of his box. He'll walk the distance off and then launch toward midfield. Truong shoulder points it back for Nunes. Nunes looks up for Nasir. Nasir battling with Cupertino. And then a whistle for the push. And Leominster's possession on the restart. Gilio's going to work with Pickett on the indirect kick. The touch rolls out in front of Gilio. Good strong send downfield. The jump popped off a shoulder. Out of the pile, Awika, first foot to it. Now to the near side. This is Perez to Bonilla, tried the strike and it was swatted down. Came off of a hip and then run down loose ball style by McDermott. 9.5 to play, second quarter, 1-0 Leominster's lead. And McDermott will send it back toward midfield. Off a shoulder, flag is up, and they say that that kick cleared the midfield stripe, and so it'll be Blue Devil ball.
You know, and those Blue Devils that are up near the 50, they got to recognize that if that ball's going to cross the 50, they should let it land because they get an automatic restart. Been a number of plays that have happened right there near the midfield stripe.
Here's the whistle. Gilio. Gilio looks for Booth. Booth sends it middle of the field. Off a foot. Knocked down there by Wright for Awika. And Awika floats it out to the edge. Nasir trying to run it down, working on Gilio. The takeaway. And they say it was over the ball, went Nasir, and so Leominster has possession on their defensive half. Moving out to the wing, it's Damaris. Damaris forward for Truong, stops the action, now waits for Miller to catch up. Miller battling Awika, out to the edge for Damaris, kept it alive along the touch, and out of real estate, Ranger ball.
Nice little give and go there up the sideline. Patiently working the ball to the offensive side of the field.
8:10 to play, second quarter, and Delgado off the touch. Downfield, Pickett, high off the chest. Then Damaris popped up in the air. Cupertino tries to get position, bodying up with Wright, and the shoulder thrown there on Wright. And so they say Leominster ball. Nice job by Cupertino. He got body position.
Using
Makes
his
all the
body
difference.
very nice. Forcing the other player to try to push him out of the way.
Pickett for Gilio, and now Damaris. Damaris for Truong. Truong knocks it ahead. He'll come to the near side. It's Halstead. Halstead races to the end line. Now the center. Nothing but Rangers in the middle of the box. Pulled out of the air this time by Dean. Racing out, bodied up on Damaris. Halstead tries to stem the tide. He could for the moment. And now it's Perez. Moves it out for Booth. Booth on Farie, splits
Nice
wickets.
move.
Forward he goes looking for Bonilla. Bonilla tried to run back to get in position, and the ball will roll all the way to the corner flag, literally on the mark. And there's the whistle. And it's Ranger ball. Substitution coming from the sideline. Jimenez will rejoin the action with a mask. Halstead now back to the sideline. You'll notice also, Bill Thomas, and of course this has a lot to do with the governor's order over the last week, all players are wearing their masks at all times. The original rules called for them to only have to wear them on the restarts, but now they are wearing them at all times, compliant with, of course, the governor's order that in any public place, one must wear a mask.
Yep, trying to stay updated and doing what we have to do here to stay safe in this day. Still continue to enjoy ourselves.
Out of the air, it's Miller. Miller goes out to the edge. He got a call from Booth. Booth chipped it toward the net. It's an excellent field goal in another sport, but other than that, it's over the top of the cage and goal kick.
Sign him up for fall 2 in the winter.
The flag comes waving. A couple of substitutes on for the Rangers. Kincaid and Joseph will join the fray. They'll spell Nasir and Farie over on the far side of the field.
Who knows? It might give the soccer kids an opportunity to play football come springtime.
I was going to say, anybody looking to sign a kicker.
A kicker, a wide receiver, maybe somebody with some speed. Who knows? You know, could be some crossover athletes.
One of the things that came out of these COVID rule modifications throughout this year with the creation of the wedge season, that fall 2 season, was to allow players something they can't normally do, to play 4 sports in a given school year. So we saw, for instance, coming up in our golf coverage, Bill Thomas, Michael Crowley from the football program played golf this year, a sport that he has always enjoyed recreationally. Played for the golf team this year and was able to make an impact.
Sometimes athletes got to make a choice. Their two favorite sports might be in the same season. So it gives them an extra opportunity.
Indeed. Miller splits the defense. Sliding out, McDermott drives it away and then got some help clearing the front of the net.
Great play from both sides right there, offensively and at goalkeeper.
And it was Campbell that finally got a foot on it and drove it away for the Rangers to clear the loose ball to the touchline. Final 5 minutes till halftime, 1-0 Leominster's lead, and they've controlled the substantial portion of this second quarter. The Rangers' best scoring opportunity came in the closing moments of the first quarter. Lifted on net there by Miller and grabbed out of the air by McDermott, who thought about racing to continue the action and now slows the pace and lets his team get out in front of him.
That's going to go past the 50.
Yeah, he'll pop it actually toward the left touchline.
Over there. Oh, I lost it.
He worked that one against the wind, Bill Thomas.
That's not going to cross the 50 in that direction. Billy made the 40.
This is Booth. And Booth will work with Perez. Coach McCaughey calling out some signals. And now to the near side. Perez lifts it in front of the box. McDermott pulls it out of the air with a leap. Comes over the top of Jimenez and Richard, who were out in front of his box. And down to 4 minutes till halftime. Key point would be the estimated halftime, as stoppage time will come into this as well. Action's been moving pretty closely, though, Bill Thomas. I don't expect a lot of stoppage time before halftime.
No, back and forth and a lot of continuous play. Not a lot of whistles, which we were hoping we'd see this type of game. Let the action play itself out.
This is Booth for Bonilla. Bonilla with the hot pink connection sets it up for Miller. Miller looked out to the edge for Booth, racing to the net, and across the line it goes. Goal kick for the Rangers.
Nice try there. You see Leominster working on some offensive sets there. It was a 2-player or 1-player game right there. And the second player was going to get that give and go, but just a little too far in the lead.
McDermott steps back off the ball, going to go up the left side of the field this time and sends it toward midfield. The jump for the ball played off the shoulder of Cupertino, and the Rangers grab control. This is Delgado looking for the edge. Damaris with the flying leg will knock it down. Batted back for Pickett. Pickett to Truong, and Truong will send it forward. Snared out of the air there by Richard off a chest, and then Awika on the loose ball in front of Jimenez. And then Awika unceremoniously decleats Jimenez.
I didn't see you there.
And off he goes, and the whistle, it'll be a free kick for Leominster.
I think, to go back to those two little change of offenses there, we saw Leominster work the ball down, a couple of give and goes, and try to work for that shot. Westborough, quick, long, 30, 40-yard pass up, quickly attacking without setting up much offensive maneuvering, and just a little difference in philosophy, I think. Westborough just wants to attack. And Leominster a little more patient. We see that right now. We don't see Westborough working the ball, the corners and the sidelines as much as we see Leominster.
Come back to that in a moment, Bill Thomas. This is Perez. Perez drive middle of the field. McDermott was off his angle, but got a lot of help from Richard, who was pinching back. And then a battle as the ball will fly up into the 5th row as we go under the 2-minute mark until halftime in a 1-0 Leominster lead. I asked Coach Steve McCaughey about playing a team a 3rd time in a year, particularly in such a condensed year. And he talked about their ability to adjust sets, their ability to keep teams guessing. And he feels like that each time he's seen the same team over again, and he was planning on doing it again today, as the battle in front of the net. Bonilla tried to knock it out of the air. He got bodied off the play by Richard. The ball crossed the end line, and it's a goal kick for the Rangers. He felt like he could give the Rangers something that they hadn't seen in their 2 previous meetings. One a 2-1 win, and the other one a 0-0 draw.
Well, I think with the talent he has to work with and the understanding that the kids seem to have of the game, you can mix it up a little bit, work your offense a little differently, do a 2-in-1 touch, a 3-2 attack, and
Jimenez got an opportunity as that goal kick got whiffed on slightly, drove it back past McDermott across the end line, and McDermott is patting his chest as he knows that he got a little lucky with that one.
And you wonder if that's not a product of worrying about getting the ball past the 50 of the COVID violation and You know, so now he's altering his goal kicks and his punts, and you know, once again, something else you got to deal with.
One of those developments of this adjusted season. Miller sets up Cupertino. Cupertino bothered by Nasir, playing a nice close mark.
This is the kind of in-close passing that Leominster loves to demonstrate. We've been seeing this all game long.
That was Nunes. Looked forward for Nasir. Pickett sent it across the touchline. Rangers will have the restart. Waning 18 estimated seconds remaining here of this first half. Miller comes flying in, bodies the ball back across the touchline. Rangers are looking to create a little more space. There's the whistle. The restart. Delgado lifted it to the box. No Ranger there to try to make a drive on net. Leominster will poke it out toward the end. And the officials say that's halftime. Limited stoppage time as we expected, and the first half comes to a close here at Doyle Field. Halfway through this one, 1-0 Leominster's lead here in the 2-3 matchup of the Pod 8 playoffs here at historic Doyle Field. Bill Thomas, it's been everything we expected and then some.
Yeah, Leominster's playing up to what we expected to see, the way they closed out the season. Very close play defense, very deliberate on offense, took advantage of you know, the few opportunities they had in the first half. Not that they didn't have other scoring chances, but very limited you know, tough stops by either goalkeeper. You know, each team did have its opportunities, but once again, I think we see a much different offensive philosophy. Leominster very deliberate, looking for that break, that give and go, try to beat the defense on the ground and with their feet, where Westborough just wants to push, get that long pass, hope for the bounce, and then, you know, kind of look for a rebound. So it's playing out to Leominster's favor, and as much like the season's wound down, they pitched a couple of shutouts, and, you know, they're playing that caliber of soccer right now. And, you know, 40 minutes down, 40 to go.
If you're able to, if you're the Rangers, to have battled to a 3-3 draw, 1-0 deficit at halftime of this one seems like nothing in the grand scheme of things. And Coach Hiller and Bunch will go into the locker room to make some adjustments, as will Coach McCaughey and squad. 1-0 at halftime, Leominster on top of Westborough. Second half action when we come back. This is RFM. And back inside historic Doyle Field, ready for second half action. Pod 8 playoffs here on RFM. Todd Robbins alongside Bill Thomas. First kick away, and teams change ends to begin the second half of action. Leominster wearing the home royal blue tops, royal blue bottoms, royal blue socks trimmed in white numerals front and back, Leominster across the front of the chest. And they'll go left to right in this third quarter of action. Meanwhile, the Rangers wearing the road white top, white bottom, white socks with the garnet front and back on the numerals. Rangers on the back nameplate, and away we go with a 1-0 Leominster lead. 30 seconds gone by here in the third quarter, Bill Thomas, and we saw both teams pretty loose, pretty limber, trying to just keep it light and find that opportunity as the Rangers are in search of this equalizer.
Well, I think both teams know that just one good offensive push away either from you know, getting that insurance goal or tying this game up. It's been very closely played with very few good offensive opportunities. Leominster fortunately took advantage of one of the few that they had.
Out of the air, that was Gilio. Forward to the front line, Miller. And then Jimenez splits back through the middle of the field, picked by Nunes. And then back for Delgado, who will send it down toward the left touchline. Booth bodies up on the near side there with Nasir. Nasir faked one way, now peels it back to his left, gets caught pirouetting and stayed on the ball.
Wow.
Oh, my.
I'm staying on him.
A flurry of action over here, all by his onesie, as Nasir looks to center. Pickett knocked it away, chipped it back toward the top of the box. And now Awika. Squared up, popped up in the air, this time by Perez. Ball bounces by Faria.
That was a mini clinic in ball control right there.
And body control, Bill Thomas.
Yeah.
If I was stumbling
both,
that bad,
you know?
I was eating it. Forget about the ball.
And I mean, to do that pirouette and stumble and not lose his balance, and then go back to the ball. He still beat the defender to the ball. That was pretty good action right there.
And this is Richard. Ball knocked down as it was deflected off of a body there. That was Delgado.
Westborough looking like they're a little more patient right there, trying a little give and go off that touch inbounds play, working that sideline, something we haven't seen much of them in the first half.
Truong will set it up. It's a goal kick, but he's going to chip it back for Gilio, who will take the rolling ball and drive it toward the middle of the field. Whistle called on the midfield line, but the kick was not from the goalkeeper.
Right,
the kick came from a player in Gilio.
I'm going to call that COVID confusion.
Yeah, the officials are going to call a timeout. They're going to converse with the assistant referee on either side.
And I think that Leominster players knew what they were doing there just to avoid that whistle.
And as again, the call, the keeper on this COVID rule can't drive the ball across midfield. Doesn't say that another player can't drive the ball across midfield.
And I think we're seeing it's just another way to take advantage of the rule, and Leominster's figured it out.
They'll send the ball back to Truong, and Leominster will get another opportunity with the goal kick.
They can do this play all over again, see if they repeat it.
Truong sends it to Gilio, and Gilio just a little off of center this time to the left side of the field.
Perfectly legal.
Indeed it was. And away we go. Out of the air, it's Dean. Back from Miller. Miller tried a little stop-start move to get around Owika. He's battling out to the left edge. And Miller now running in circles, and he wiped himself off of the ball.
Looks like he caught a toe, a little turf monster, but got a call out of it.
Yeah, got the benefit of the whistle. I didn't see the initial call. I saw him show the forearm. And so it looks like it'll be an indirect for Leominster's Miller. Miller will work with Cupertino on the left touchline. 16:40 and counting here in the third quarter. 1-0 the lead for Leominster. Miller curls it middle of the field. Ball knuckles out of a pack and center mass on McDermott. And now McDermott will rifle it with the throw up the right touchline. This is Farrier. Farrier launches it out in front, and the ball will harmlessly roll down to Truong at the top of the box.
Once again,
and then we go.
Westborough not showing any patience offensively, just banging it down the offensive end, banging it down that sideline, chasing the ball in, hoping for a rebound.
That was a goal kick over the middle of the field.
No, that was done
ball
wrong.
Back to the Rangers.
I mean, we just had this discussion, my friend.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. This is Owika, forward through Delgado. Out to the edge, Christensen. And then knocked down off of Nunes and then cleared away by Truong. And there's a race back to the ball. This is Boyle. Boyle let it roll all the way back to McDermott. McDermott sends it up middle of the field. Caught the chin of Miller before it was popped across midfield in Ranger control. And now the ball bounces toward the right touchline. Damaris goes flying through the air. Flag is up and it favors the Rangers. Just about 5 minutes gone by in this third quarter. Off a shoulder, this one bounces back to Pickett. Race around the ball, it was Boyle. Boyle looked to find a center for Christensen. And the ball will roll across the end line. They say the last touch was Leominster, so it looks like it will be a COVID corner for the Rangers. Coach Hillier says run the play, so they've got something predetermined. Farrier looks like he's going to trigger this restart, and it looks like Delgado with him. The drag right up the sideline, tried the drive. It hit Truong between the numbers and bounces over the end line. Another corner kick for the Rangers.
Get to try that play again, whatever it was. I saw a quick touch and a curl there into the offensive action. Have to see if they try something different.
It is Farrier with Delgado. Farrier again. This time pushes it along the end line. Now Delgado drives it to the middle of the field. Bouncing ball, Nasir, the strike, and the corner of the net. Equalizer found for the Rangers and Nasir. We're knotted at 1. 14-11 to play in the third quarter.
That happened quickly, but off a corner, you got to clear this out from the center of the net. Westborough player, number 14, it looked like.
Indeed it was.
Great position, took advantage of that. In a screen.
Hamza Nazir will draw this game even at 1.
Truong frozen, never saw it coming.
$14-11 to play at the third quarter here, and we are all knotted up, a whole new ball game. Jimenez will come to the sideline for Leominster. And there's a restart. Nico Delichii on the restart. seeing some of his first action. Couple of adjustments to Coach McCaughey's roster. Delakiai being one. Silvera, number 9, also out there. He a second call-up that coach has added to his varsity roster for this playoff action. This is Nunes. Nunes comes to the left edge, the goal scorer, Nasir. Nasir connects to Nunes, then tries to circle back, running out of real estate at the end line. Flag is up, and it favors Leominster. Goal kick. And so Leominster will have the goal kick opportunity. It looks like Gilio working with the keeper, Truong. And there's the touchback, and then the drive. Off the chest of Delakiai. Knocked down, swatted out of the air by Christensen across the touchline. And so Leominster has covered at least half the field, and they'll now restart from their side of the midpoint. Cupertino. Chipped off a foot of Richard. And then there's a takedown right about the football 20-yard line. It will be Leominster favor as Bonilla got tied up with what looks like Dean on the play.
Both plays just kind of collapsed in a heap there.
Well, for my pro wrestling friends, Bill Thomas, that looked like a Russian leg sweep, if I'm not mistaken.
Indirect.
Yeah, it looks like it will be an indirect free kick. Trying to block the vision this time. They called it a free kick, and there was the fire by Cupertino over the top of the head of McDermott, over the crossbar, and across the end line.
Didn't see him break out the can of foam there to position
the
players.
to mark the players down. He was having a little trouble with the can of foam earlier, Bill Thomas.
Maybe that's why we haven't seen it all year.
A little harder when the officials are working the edges, and I will say what has been proven today, Bill Thomas, the game has been much more controlled, much better position on the calls, both on the lines and also in the middle of the field. The action feels much more under control. As I know my soccer officiating friends would want you to know, that's the whole point of the diagonal control system that they use with the 3 officials on the field.
Having that official wandering midfield between the 30s up and down, I think adds that extra level of control, and the players are aware of it.
Bounding ball taken out of the air, this time by Booth. Into a pile, Bonilla won it between 2 Rangers. Everybody goes flying, and Miller picks up the loose ball. Play on is the signal. Miller to his right foot, tries to throw on the brakes. Bonilla flying back into the play, somehow ends up with the ball working on Dean. Now centered out in front, and smothering it is McDermott. Johnny on the spot to slow the action down.
Great offensive rush right there. Leominster just unable to convert. Couldn't quite get that position.
9 minutes gone by in the third quarter in a 1-1 ball game. Jimenez with the first strike for Leominster came at the 13-15 mark of the first quarter of action. And then Nasir, the goal scorer for the Rangers just moments ago at the 14-11 mark of the third quarter. Christensen, the touch. Tried to turn it back for Farrier. Centered, blocked down there off of Miller. Back to the middle of the field. This is Dean, pinches up in the action. For Farrier. Inside for Delgado. Now out for Farrier, working on Pickett. And Pickett runs him off the angle, and it's goal kick for Leominster. Halfway through this third quarter, a 1-1 ball game. Looks like a masking issue there for Nunes, who will come to the sideline. Off the restart, launched over midfield. Kicked back toward the right touch line. Damaris and Farrier shoulder up on it. And the favor is the Rangers. It was a push called against Leominster. Fast-moving third quarter of action. Delgado lifts it middle of the field. Off a shoulder, deflected down. This was right. Now the strike opportunity, lifted high over the net. It was Delgado coming up from the back line with the drive and lifted it just a little too high, Bill Thomas.
Yeah, Let me bring my mic back down. I keep forgetting to do that. Yeah, great opportunity from long distance there, just up and over the goal.
Gilio from Truong on the restart. Bonilla, a little arm skews me around, he goes. Working on Dean. Bonilla trying to win a foot race and has it taken away from him. And no call, it's a Leominster corner.
A lot of arm checking there. Good job by Bonilla, though. Great body control. Be able to hold off the defender. See if Leominster can't get something off of this corner kick.
Booth and Miller on the restart from the tight corner right. Miller on a double team, chipped it forward, he won the angle, but it was taken away by Richard, and Richard sends it up the right touch line. And then Cupertino played it off his right foot across said touch line, and the ball will go back to the Rangers. Coach McCaw, he fired up over on the near sideline, trying to remind his players of an adjustment they were going to make, and the Rangers restarted before they got the signal. Dean off the foot of right, and away we go. Delgado for Dean, looking for right. Perez slowed things down, but Delgado came out with the ball. Delgado to the edge for Nasir. Nasir will look to center. Around Booth, one more to beat. Tried to center with the left foot, and it was deflected down off of Gilio and across the end line. Leominster ball, 7.5 to play in the third quarter, 1-all.
Good job by Gilio staying with it there. It's against some good footwork, but Gilio staying right with it till that shot on goal, able to deflect it off the end line. Looks like we got a Westborough corner.
Yeah, last touch was off of Leominster, so it will be a corner kick.
Always dangerous here in these resets.
Delgado having a conversation with Nasir. They're going to work the restart. Nasir for Delgado. That one caught the dome of Booth. No call, play on. Nasir back for Dean. Now battling Bonilla. And took him right out of his shoe. And so Dean will have control on the restart. Nope. Delgado waves him off. Delgado's going to pull the trigger. Leominster gives him the distance, and Delgado with the drag pulls it wide of the net. Nice call by Truong there. He could see the angle as the keeper, and he called everybody off it, threw his hands up, and let the ball go long and wide. The touch and the kick. Back up the middle of the field, Gilio. Knocked down at the midfield stripe. This is Delgado. Back and forth on the edge they go. Everybody says, I didn't do it, but somebody did something, says the official, and the whistle favors the Rangers. And another whistle, and clock stopped, and now the official does a little conversing with Cupertino.
Proactive officiating, we'll put it into that category.
Yeah, Cupertino had his piece to say in the conversation, but smartly runs off the play. Delgado, it was deflected down. Miller stepped up, played it off a shoulder. Back it goes in the battle. Gilio, run off the edge. Nasir flying down the field. They say he went over the ball. It was that, or he went off his own player, but play on was the signal, and Leominster's got control. This is Miller for Bonilla, out in front of the attack. Bonilla on the right touchline, looking to find somebody to connect with. Look to center. He had overrun the goal, and he rifled it off the side of the net. Goal kick for the Rangers.
Quick chance offensively down the right side there. A lot of speed, just like you say, overran the end line. Lost his angle. Good job by the Westborough defender there to push him wide.
15 gone by, final 5 minutes of the third quarter. These teams knotted at one. Somebody looking to pull ahead before the fourth and final quarter. Coach McCaw, he telling his players he feels like they're being maybe a little too conservative out there. He'd like to see them take a couple of more chances. Perez for Miller. Miller in the open field, working on Awika. Sends it out in front of Delikiai. Delikiai throws on the block, tries to center, and Miller couldn't get a foot on it. The Rangers defense cleared the front of the cage. It was Richard there.
Somebody from the Rangers defense flashed right there in front of the net. Probably a goal-saving move on his behalf.
Nunes will rejoin the action at the next available substitution, but meanwhile, it's a corner kick for Leominster with 4:10 to play in the third quarter. Miller working with Booth. The drive, driven off a player and out of play. Should be another Leominster corner, and it will be. Strong wind blowing hard left to right as you look at the flag in the upper field, so it's blowing right into the face of Miller and Booth in that bottom right corner. They get a new ball, and now Booth out in front of Miller. Miller decides to take on two. The takedown on the play, and they say Miller the cause. Ranger ball.
Where's the restart here?
And the card is out. Yellow card out on the play as they point toward Booth. And so he will get sent off.
Not sure what.
And so there's a conversation there. They say the alternate, one of the assistant referees, was the one that advised the center that there was a conversation. Meanwhile, away from the play, a discussion ensues between Perez, Cupertino, Philbrook, and Fitzgibbon. They're merely making post-game dinner plans as the conversation continues. Pickett steps in, hoping that cooler heads will prevail. Meanwhile, the center official says, play on. Coaches grab control. They allow one player. I mean, hey, let's face it, Bill Thomas. This is about the most competitive thing in this COVID conversation that's been allowed to happen. And finally, with some playoff action, you're seeing some feistiness coming out. And the battle ensues. 2.5 to play here in the third quarter, and teams knotted at 1. We're far from home on this one. That one gets chipped across the sideline, but the ball will favor Leominster. It was off a white shoe. Same-day delay action here on Rivalry Family Media, Facebook.com/Media Rivalry. This one from earlier today. Great to have you joining us here on Facebook Live this evening. Todd Robbins with Bill Thomas. Happy to have you along with us. Meanwhile, every game here on RFM throughout the year and back historically, all available on demand anytime you like on YouTube. YouTube.com, search Rivalry Family Media, like and subscribe today. As we go under the 2-minute mark of the third quarter with teams knotted at 1. Lima on the field for Leominster as Truong will get a spell. This is Miller and Damaris. Miller lofts the ball to the middle of the field. Jump ball comes out of a pile, and McDermott was able to race out in front. A lot of hand checking going on, Bill Thomas. There's a lot of hands on body in all directions.
A lot of pushing and shoving going on right there, but unequal. Official getting in the way there. He handled the ball.
He did, and there was no spray involved.
I didn't think anybody could touch the ball.
Other than the keepers.
Yeah,
Drop kick to open play. I think they were checking perhaps. That one
50
went over the middle of the field, and the ball will favor Leominster.
Things are falling apart here.
Quickly, and
yes.
We'll say rapidly, Bill Thomas.
Yes. Let's get the game back together here.
Leominster coaches trying to call for energy. They want to see the players pick up the energy here. Delikiai got that one kicked off the inside of the ankle, and it favors the Rangers on the restart. And Delgado will send it right to left down the field for the Rangers. There's a whistle. It will be Rangers' favor, and Leominster, that's a tough call against them. Pickett had peeled off the play, and falling down on that one was Boyle, and he was the beneficiary of a long-distance call from the center official. Now, I never said diagonal control in 3 officials, Bill Thomas, was infallible. Sometimes you can get caught out of position.
Sometimes there's no good angle. I think we saw it right there.
Richard plays it off of Damaris. And the signal is that's full time in the third quarter. 3 quarters in the books here at historic Doyle Field. The 2-3 matchup, the second-seeded Leominster Blue Devils, the third-seeded Westborough Rangers have battled to a 1-all tie through 3 quarters. The all-important 4th and final quarter, and perhaps more. When we come back, this is RFL. Back to historic Doyle Field in Leominster, setting up for the 4th and final quarter of this one. 1-all, our score, Leominster and Westborough. How else would you have it in the 2-3 matchup of this Pod 8 playoff, which has been probably the most evenly matched group of 5 schools that could possibly have been put together for boys soccer here in the Mid-Wach League. Very, very evenly matched. It's been an evenly matched year with everybody taking each other down at some point in time or playing each other to a draw at some point in time. And now, as you get down to the final 4 teams, the 2 sandwiched in the middle, Leominster and Westborough, battling to a 1-all draw through 3 quarters, somebody looking to pull ahead and hold on for dear life as the opening kick of the quarter goes all the way down off of a Ranger foot to the Leominster end line, and it will be a goal kick that favors Leominster.
Well, I have to say, Todd, I think we got the game we anticipated. Both teams came into this playoff game playing very well, you know, scoring the goals that they needed, playing good defense, getting the goalkeeping, and we've seen that through the first 3 quarters, 1-1 game up to this point.
Both coaches speaking to their players between the breaks, between the 3rd and 4th quarter, 2 very different philosophies. Coach Hillier with a more of a tactical discussion in his huddle. Meanwhile, Coach McCaughey went with the fire and brimstone going into the 4th quarter. We'll see which one pays off.
He was very animated.
Indeed. I mean, you could certainly, on both sides, you can feel the enthusiasm and the palpability in the coaches as they try to translate that enthusiasm to their players, each in their own unique way. We'll see which one successfully is able to navigate that point and which team can rise to the occasion. Back and forth passing, Lima worked it back for Booth. And then out to the edge, Bonilla, who spins out on the play. And the flag is up favoring Leominster. 18.5 to play here in the 4th quarter. 1-all. Nobody in a particular hurry here to push the issue. Cupertino's going to work with Miller as they wait the signal. Miller curls the ball into the box. It bounces loose. Pick at the battle. Shot! Knocked out of the air by McDermott! And he'll scoop up the loose ball.
Great awareness right there on that rebound. Bouncing ball. Stayed with it.
McDermott highlights that one toward the midfield mark. Peeled down and sent right back downfield. And across the end line it goes. It'll be a goal kick for the Rangers.
Early action here for the Blue Devils, but unable to crack the goal line.
An enthusiastic but COVID-sparse limited crowd here at Doyle Field has been treated to a beauty. And for the rest of you, so great to have you as a part of our family over the last couple of hours here on RFM. More exciting action to come as we work our way toward the end of this one. Nasir keeps it alive in front of Lima, and then Lima gets bodied off the play as this one pops up, crosses the end line. Flag favors Westborough. And so Bonilla gets told to back up off of this restart, and this is Dean. Dean chips it to Nunes. And then Bonilla closes, and there's a whistle as Nunes got tripped up on the play, but he had lost position, so it's Blue Devil ball. Bodies from both directions, Bill Thomas, blue and white, laying on the field after that maneuver.
You know, it looked like that might have been a situation where the officials could have let them play on there, though. Kind of took advantage away from the Blue Devils and stopped the play.
Launches toward goal. Deflected. It's behind McDermott. Now out to the right, and it's steered away temporarily. Booth tries to take another shot. Couldn't get it on net, and the Rangers successfully steer it out to the touchline. This is Nasir, and a whistle.
Action frantic.
And the action favors Leominster.
Open net there, just could not find that foot on the ball.
That will be a moment Leominster could go back to later on if they're not able to draw ahead in this one. Cupertino is going to have to touch. There's the touch, and then the drive. The whistle came right away. And so the officials say that the ball has to be kicked and moved and not a tap. So Cupertino misunderstood what the restart rule was there, so they're going to have to do it again. Ball pulled over here to the near side. It will be Cupertino and Miller.
He's standing there like, really?
There's the touch. Miller draws it, middle of the box. Pops out of the crowd. Delici first to it, puts the left foot on it. In front of a Ranger, chips it out down the right side. There's a push and a battle there. That was Silva working with Damaris. And out of that pile comes Cupertino. Cupertino flies it out to the near side, past Lima. Booth knocks it down. Waits to connect to Bonilla. Bonilla to center and swiped away by Nunes. And Nunes will drive it back out to Christensen. And now out to the edge, Nasir battles with Booth, and Booth made the touch, and the possession will go to the Rangers. 14:40 to play in the fourth quarter. Teams knotted at 1. What a battle we have at Doyle Field here on Rivalry Family Media. Bill Thomas, a treat.
Back and forth. See offensive spurts, good defense, and good goalkeeping to top it off.
Awika sends it toward Pickett. Pickett knocked it down and then sent it back the other way toward Jimenez. And Jimenez goes flying over the ball.
Week has been very quiet here in the second half.
And not as physically imposing a presence as we've seen, certainly in the first half of action.
I wonder if fatigue is starting to set in with some of these kids too.
Lima tried to send it for the back line. They didn't come with him, and so Christensen knocked it down for the Rangers, if only momentarily. Now Bonilla sets up Miller. Miller plays it ahead, looking to spin it off for Delici, and it didn't pop in front. The ball was steered away by the Rangers, and out toward the right touchline it goes. Damaris crosses the ball for Miller, onside, bouncing ball. He was pushed from behind, no call, and McDermott will pull it loose.
Wow, what action in front of the Westborough net. Goalkeeper able to corral it.
And then out of play across the touchline into the second row, and the ball back to the Rangers. 13.5 to play in the fourth quarter. Teams knotted at 1. Forward this goes. Damaris sends it back the other way. Delici across the touchline. Leominster loses it, and the ball back to Westborough. Substitution coming in. Faria will rejoin the fray. He's going to spell Nasir on the near side, and Halstead will fly out there for Delici, who saw some solid minutes. Delici gets a warm hand as he comes over to the near side. The touch, and then the draw, downfield, jump ball, pops loose. Booth will send it back toward midfield. Awika with the jump and the shoulder action to push the ball back down for Westborough. And then a grab, and Cupertino gets the mock applause on either side from the Rangers as the officials say handball, and the ball goes back to Westborough. Delgado will work with Nunes, middle of the field. A checkered pattern of players in front of the box. The touch, then Delgado steers it out to the edge. Connects with Faria. Faria battling with Booth. Booth knocked it away from him. Tries to go back middle of the field. Bonilla gets knocked down from behind, and there's a whistle. And the center official to the near side as Bonilla rolls up on the play. This will be a free kick that will favor Leominster. And the official stalking his prey, trying to find the right player to converse with. Decides to go with a stern talking to Dean. And this is Booth. Sets up Giglio. Giglio to the middle of the field. Misses everybody. And then Richard not able to get a foot on it. Foot shot by Halstead, just wide of the right post.
The goalkeeper's wondering why that ball's not in the net. And oh, is he lucky.
Everybody lost the angle on that one. The ball squirted loose. Halstead swung a foot wildly at it, and he pulled it just wide of right post. Oh, my.
That's it, typical. You're looking back because you thought, you didn't make the save, so there's only one thing that could have happened. It's in the goal, but just wide, fortunately for Westborough.
Turned out to McDermott's favor. The net not quite that wide. And McDermott, the goal kick on the restart, under 11 to play here in the fourth quarter.
You figured the 50?
And it was knocked down there off of one of his own players. Smartly played by Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon, swiped by Miller. For Jimenez, back to Miller. And then falling down on the play there behind was Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon is down in the middle of the offensive end. Flag is up. Coach Hillier says he's got a man down, and now we've got a whistle to stop play. 10:27 to play here in the fourth quarter. Teams knotted at 1, and the call for either a substitution and or the trainer. And Fitzgibbon is able to get up and trot off on his own power there.
Good to see.
Yeah, I think he took that one in the shin. It looked like he was checking his shin guard there, Bill Thomas, as he came to the near side. And so Wright will re-enter the fray for the Rangers. Gnesian will work this time with Delgado. Delgado out of the air, jumping was Cupertino. Ball bounces loose, and the Rangers will play it down there. This is Silva. Back through Owika. And now Delgado lifts it out to the wing. Faria will race to the open field. He'll keep it alive in the corner. He'll chip it on the end line. The finger whistle presses in, blows it dead. And they say it was across the end line. Goal kick Leominster. Halfway through this fourth quarter, nobody able to find the go-ahead goal. We're knotted at 1.
I think Leominster caught a little break there. Good control by the Westborough player down in the corner. Close call. Press box consensus is it was out. Of course.
No hometown influence in that opinion, as the ball pops through the middle of the field off a shoulder of Miller.
Our own version of Tommy Heinsohn. Rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. Tough week all around, and now whistles down. And it looks like Owika is going to go down. He might have taken that one high, and they are calling for the trainer. 9:23 to play in the fourth quarter, and another injury stoppage. Teams knotted at 1. Coach McCaughey telling his team to get together and discuss during this stoppage in action. It looks like this will be a bit of a delay. We'll take it as well. 9:23 to play in the fourth quarter. Leominster and Westborough in the Pod 8 playoff semifinal. 1-1 here in the middle of the fourth quarter break, and more to come. This is RFM. And back inside historic Doyle Field, Owika up and able to walk off on his own power. And the trainer does signal, yeah, he took it high under the chin, maybe in and around the throat area. And so he's going to get checked out over on the near sideline. But the good news for Coach Hillier and squad, Owika able to walk off under his own power and will get checked off here on the near bench. 9:23 to play in the fourth quarter as we get set for a restart with teams knotted at 1. And as if on cue, Bill Thomas, because you need another factor, somebody turned the spigot on. The rain has begun here at historic Doyle Field as well. Why not? We're knotted at 1, looking for a go-ahead goal in both directions, and let's add a little rain to the recipe.
And it's not like it just decided to sprinkle, it just opened up.
The skies indeed have opened, and a whistle. And this will favor Leominster. And people now go scrambling for cover, save for the players who do not have any way other than to take the rain. And we can see it very clearly, Bill Thomas, as you look across the field at that rain just pouring down in front of the light stanchion on the far sideline. My, oh my. Up the drama just a little, shall we? That one played away. Why not?
To make things a little slick, make the ball a little slick. That's all. Add a little extra drama. Same conditions for both teams.
That's right. Miller and Cupertino and Booth on the restart to the near side. 8:20 to play in the fourth quarter. Packs are forming up, pushing and shoving there as there's some discussions and some body contact in all directions. Miller gets the touch, lifts it toward goal, jumping out of the air. Bonilla took it away from the net. Wasn't sure on the angle, tried to chip it out of the air, didn't want McDermott to be able to take it away, and he was not able to redirect it on goal, and the Rangers moving up the side of the field. Cupertino chips it out to Bonilla. Race to the edge. Bonilla lost it to the end line. Goal kick for the Rangers.
Couple of good offensive opportunities there.
7.5 to play in the fourth quarter. Teams in search of a goal, knotted at 1. McDermott will step off the ball and drive it up the middle of the field. High off a shoulder on Perez, who tried to race to the line while holding Nasir from falling down. Good sportsmanship in all directions. They tried to keep each other from careening into the bench on the near side.
They've been battling most of the game over here on the side.
And the once pouring rain has now moved to a spritz, if you will. Atmospheric schwitzing as we continue here under 7 to play in the fourth, knotted at 1. This is Delgado. Miller tried to take it away and couldn't. Got redirected off the foot of Delgado past Faria across the touchline, and the ball goes back to Leominster.
Very serene with the rain coming down.
Oh, without a doubt.
Let's just be thankful it's not snow.
That's right. Driven down the left touchline.
Like last week.
Loose ball springs to the middle of the field. Bonilla caught an edge crossing the football 30-yard line, but he's back up. Picks up a pass from Perez.
First sign of some slickness on the field, I believe.
Indeed. This is Bonilla. Steps to hot pick. Shot wide of the net, but slid and scooped there by McDermott. This one pops up across the touchline. Flag is up, and it favors Westborough.
Blue Devils doing a good job of challenging in midfield, though, keeping the pressure on, turning that ball around, getting back in the offensive zone.
5:50 and counting to play in the fourth quarter. Teams knotted at 1. Westborough drives the ball down the middle of the field, taken out of the air there by Giglio. Now it bounces loose to Nasir. Booth gets hooked up with him, and down he goes. Nasir called for the takedown, and the whistle favors Leominster, and that was before Nunes wiped out on the play or got taken out, one or the other, just away from the ball. So the officials steer out the action, and now the whistle. Giglio tells his teammates to fly down the field. 5 to play here in the fourth. Bouncing ball taken out of the air by Awika, who, good news, has rejoined the action after going down at the previous stoppage. Halstead, no, make it Damaris. Damaris has that one turned away from him by Dean. Now thrown toward the touchline. It crosses the left touchline. Flag favors Leominster as we wind down toward the 4:50 mark of the fourth quarter. And there is another injury away from the play. The officials will stop the action, allow a substitution. 1 for 1 as each team gets a substitution. Faria will come out. Joining the action, Silva for the Rangers. Andy Truong back on for Leominster over Dan Reed-Jimenez. And Leominster's got the restart. Damaris with Cupertino. Works a little give and go off the start. Damaris tried to center for Truong. It bounces loose. Back for the ball. Nasir closed in on it. Wipe out on the play. Play on, says the officials. Perez back up and on his feet. Feeds Bonilla to the near side. Skids to a stop in front of the right touchline. And then has it taken away from behind. That one taken away by Richard. Moves it out now, Awika. Awika with a little bit of reckless abandon. Launches it up the left side. Now for Nunes. Tried the give and go as we wind down toward 4 minutes here in the fourth. And then Awika with the hip check, and off the play goes Cupertino and his Leominster ball. Physically imposing, and clearly we hear Mike Griffin say, and I agree with the sentiment, they're letting him play now, Bill Thomas.
Absolutely. You know, and they have for the most part. You know, they closed up the game a little bit in the mid-quarters, but they are letting them play it out.
Loose ball bounces downfield for Truong. There was shoulder contact. Everybody bids on that loose ball, and Leominster able to buy it. They will have control at the left touchline.
You know, officials have done a good job saying their piece, keeping the players' emotions in check, but you know, this is crunch time right now. You don't want to take all the emotion out of the game.
The touch, falling down, curled on the net, shot, and it's buried! Leominster with the go-ahead. Pickett with the final shot to drive it home. And the Blue Devils celebrate. 3:19 to play in the fourth quarter. And Leominster has drawn ahead by a 2-1 score.
Off that long deep kick.
Hard to tell, Bill Thomas, who had the restart. It was either Damaris or Miller. Couldn't tell on the far side who dragged it to the front of the net. But we know that Pickett drove it home.
A lot of action right there, and Blue Devils finally able to convert.
Just being told 1 year ago today, Leominster was in a penalty kick battle here at Doyle Field in playoff action last year. How amazing how things come one calendar year around. And of course, they ended up winning that, going deeper into the statewide playoff. And now 3 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter in the pod playoff, where all you're playing for is pod pride. A 2-1 Leominster lead right now, winding under 3 minutes to play in this COVID-modified playoff season, Bill Thomas.
Yeah, you know, whatever you want to call them, pod playoffs, you know, friendlies, just bragging rights is really what we're playing for this in this COVID season amongst schools. And these are the schools we play season after season after season. I don't care what season it is, it's always about the bragging rights.
Indeed. Leominster player down in a heap. Trainer comes out on the field, as does Coach McCaughey.
Trying to see who it is.
Yeah, hard to tell. He's writhing in pain out on the field.
Focus in on him.
And this was a little bit away from the
green
field.
Shoes. Who wears the green shoes?
That Cupertino is one. There is a second set of green shoes as well. But, yeah, Cupertino, I believe. And that looks like it is indeed.
Yeah, yep. I'm using
Tiago Cupertino.
Your keys to the game, Todd. Look for the shoes.
Look for the shoes. Find the shoes. That's a good way to tell.
Although I couldn't relate to who was wearing the green shoes like you, I knew you'd know.
I appreciate that, Bill Thomas. 2:51 to play in the fourth quarter.
Mike had it.
Mike was there too. Mike, yeah, he recognized the
too.
green shoes. Yeah, absolutely.
I think we got to put a headset on Mike. Would that be too dangerous? Might be a little dangerous.
So many responsibilities Mike Griffin already maintains. Clock operator, press box manager, on-site administrator.
Turn the heat on and off. Make sure everything's nice and warm for our footsies when we get here.
Substitution on the play brings Danry Jimenez back into the play, and Cupertino is going to get checked out on the near sideline. And so all the way to the far side goes Jimenez. 2:51 to play in the fourth. Leominster with the 2-1 advantage off of the goal. Battle in the midfield. Bouncing ball out to the near side. Driven them back. And now the Rangers push it down forward along the left touchline. Booth working with Nasir. Nasir lost it off of a foot. The flag is up. And they're trying to get the attention of the center official. Leominster would like a substitution to put Cupertino back in. And now the whistle, they will stop action. The substitution as Cupertino will play on. Jimenez will step out. As we wind down toward that 2-minute mark when the subjective part of the fourth quarter timing will begin. 2-1 Leominster's lead in the final 2 minutes plus stoppage time of this fourth quarter. This one flies past Delakiai, knocked down there by Boyle. Bouncing back toward the middle of the field. Drawn through, this is Delakiai. Delakiai chasing along with 4 different Ranger players until finally Wright turns the angle across the touchline, but Delakiai stayed in the battle and won it for Leominster.
Out of desperation right there, the Westborough defender just had to clear that away. You know, we're going to have a couple of 3 minutes here in extra time, too. This it's going to seem like a long 3 to 5 minutes if you're a Blue Devil fan.
No question about it. We've got an estimated 1 minute, 15 seconds left in regulation before we get to stoppage time. Whistles as there was a battle for the ball, and it will favor Leominster. only peeling more time off the clock. The friend of Leominster right now. Oh, they're going to turn the action. Excuse me. Thank you, Bill Thomas. They're going to turn that back to Westborough as we wind unofficially under a minute to play here in the fourth quarter.
Well, I'm missing my spotting skills from football to be able to point these things out. That's what
I appreciate it, Bill Thomas.
You know, that's what I like watching, off the ball and see what's going on.
Miller drags the ball.
And they gave it, actually they turned that around.
Yeah, they said he,
to the Blue Devils.
Yeah, he said he put that one up in the air. So back and
of
forth they went.
Kind of an odd set of calls right there.
Nonetheless, it's going to be Westborough ball.
Westborough was ready to put the ball in play, and all of a sudden...
about 30 seconds left. Bouncing ball to the middle of the field. Miller chips it to the touchline.
All the Blue Devils want to do
the ball
just
down the field.
But play the ball out, play the ball out. The clock is your friend right now if you're a Blue Devil. Just play the ball out, get it away from the front of the net.
Here comes the battle down that far side, and Delikai again
play the ball
drives
out.
it across the touchline.
Don't even try to steal it. This is all in the favor of the Blue Devils right here.
Stoppage time commences roughly now. So the subjective part of the timing has begun. 2-1 Leominster's lead. Rangers pushing the issue here, looking for the equalizer. They lift it for the middle of the field. Cupertino off a shoulder, drives it back toward the top part of the Leominster end. Bouncing ball, caught off a back shoulder, now moved forward. Rangers try to control. This is Richard. Richard sets up an angle. Delgado lifts it toward goal, across the end line. The whistles are out. That's full time. Leominster is a winner by a 2-1 score here at historic Doyle Field. What a battle in this 2-3 matchup. The second-seeded Blue Devils just able to be 1 goal better and about 2 minutes longer than the Rangers in this one. Leominster moves on to get the winner of Algonquin and Shrewsbury.
Well, I have to say, Todd, we got the game we expected, close all the way, traded goals, and Leominster found a way to break through there with about 4 minutes left. Turned out to be the game winner. And as you said, Leominster moves on to the next round of this pod playoffs.
Indeed they do. Blue Devils, the second seed, they're 4-3-1 overall record. They're now 5-3-1 overall with this playoff victory. Will advance on to the winner of either Algonquin and Shrewsbury, and depending on that result, 2 teams that have played very close throughout the year. Leominster is the second seed. If Shrewsbury is able to win and pull the upset, Leominster could end up with a pod championship here at Doyle Field. But all that is many different factors down the road, Bill Thomas.
Well, you know, however the season turns out, it's just I'm glad that the kids were fortunate enough to get to play a season. You know, whether it's playing the same 4 teams over and over again in home and away series and ending up in this pod playoffs. You know, there's nothing normal about this year, but to be able to lend some type of normalcy to the situation, I think is the best we can do. Just, you know, I enjoy doing what we do. I can't imagine what it's like to be a student going through this, but still kind of not living out your dream. But this is kind of what a lot of these athletes, they go to school to learn, but they go to school to enjoy the athletics and the competition for whatever season it is. And it's just a joy watching them, and to be successful at it just adds that little extra notch, that little extra giddy up in your step. And you know, congratulations to the Blue Devils here, moving on to the next round of this pod playoff.
And, you know, we've said it, Bill Thomas, you know, a great victory not just to these teams being able to get out here and play this action during this year, but a great victory to the administrations as well, who are functioning under far from normal circumstances and have been able to create these opportunities. We saw the athletic directors and the administrators celebrating together and congratulating one another. Athletic Director Dave Blasi here at Leominster, Athletic Director here at Leominster, Johanna DiCarlo, Athletic Director for Westborough, also on site. They're able to congratulate one another in what has been a fascinating year thus far. And for Leominster, the year rolls on. A 2-1 victory here at historic Doyle Field. So happy to have you with us throughout this last couple of hours. Same-day delay coverage you're seeing here on Rivalry Family Media, Facebook.com/Media Rivalry for that same-day delay broadcast premiere, and then game available on demand on YouTube immediately at the conclusion of this one here on Facebook. Search Rivalry Family Media, like and subscribe today out on YouTube for on-demand coverage of this one. Bill Thomas, again, pending how things play out, and of course with the home teams providing the broadcast, we may or may not see teams again, but we know Leominster will get the winner of Algonquin and Shrewsbury, and what a Fall 1 season it has been. It's been a real pleasure for Rivalry Family Media to be able to be a part of this.
It has. We've done a number of games, at least a dozen of them, across 3 different sporting disciplines, and when you talked about what our plans were coming into this season, I was like, we're going to do what? Really? They're going to let us? What's first off? And in the games that we've covered, the girls field hockey and boys and girls soccer, it's been very enjoyable. And the fact that we get to bring these games to the parents, the friends, the other family members that don't get to come and enjoy them in person like we do. We're privileged to be able to do this, in this format. But I can't wait for whatever the next season brings. If it's going to be basketball, I know they're still working out the particulars about that and fans and. But we're going to help out to bring it out there if we can, because I'm not going to say the kids crave publicity, but we've seen how they light up when they get it, and we enjoy that end of it. I know I do. We've seen it time and time again in the football, basketball seasons, and this is just a continuation of that.
And I'll build on what you said, Bill Thomas. I think the great pleasure of being able to do this, given the difficult circumstances of COVID-19 and how they've had to modify their schedule and all of that has come with this. I think the real key point to all of this, of course, has been the ability for these games to happen, the ability to have these schools come together, and, of course, a real pleasure for us to be able to bring a spotlight to sports that maybe once or twice a year at best under normal circumstances you're able to cover. And in this circumstance, we've been able to see the entire boys and girls soccer season and the field hockey season. It's been a real pleasure to be involved, bring that coverage to the community. I want to note before we wrap up this great sportsmanship that I just saw. We were talking about a week earlier on through the game. Of course, teams are wrapping up. Westborough getting ready to leave. He put his backpack on, and he was going away from the bench, and I was wondering where he was heading, and he went right toward the Leominster huddle, right around the 30-yard line, and he tapped Coach McCaughey on the back, and he gave him a COVID bump, and then he congratulated the Leominster team. I mean, that's incredible sportsmanship. For a player to be able to go across the field by himself, to have that kind of self-confidence as a high school athlete, credit to Awika and the Rangers program. Speaks a lot to what they're doing down there as well, Bill Thomas.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it any better, Todd. But I think that's what high school sports brings to kids. It shows them a certain level of respect. It helps them to grow up, to respect others. You can't always win. I always, when I coached Little League going back 25 years, I used to like to tell my kids, hey, we're here to have fun, but it's more fun when you win. But, you're still going to walk away at the end, and hopefully you have fun no matter how it turns out. He's one of those kids. He showed that. He showed the respect, and it's great to see. And I'm sure he's going to bring that to things he does in the future, too. That's not a one-off, Todd. I'm quite sure. You probably realize that as well as I do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's all about, building a program and, of course, building that kind of foundational character. We talk a lot about in athletics, Bill Thomas, the important aspect in athletics, of course, of it being an extension of the classroom, or you could call it co-curricular. It is also another classroom. It's the biggest classroom in any school district, is the sporting facilities. And, of course, you can see there character in that
Well,
foundation.
There's no better way to build character is through sports. You can dot all the I's and cross all the T you want academically, but to be, to round out yourself, you need a little bit of everything, I think. And, sports just adds that one extra aspect to a student's life. And, it's in some instances, it makes them grow up a lot faster than they really want to, and it shows in different kids in different ways. But we saw a good example of that tonight.
No question about that. 2-1 Leominster's victory here at historic Doyle Field in boys soccer to move on in this Pod 8 playoff system. They'll get the winner of Algonquin and Shrewsbury coming up later on in the week. We thank you so very much for being a part of this one. Assuming that game is not here at Doyle Field, we will look forward to talking to you here on RFM in the coming weeks and months. As Bill Thomas alluded to, there are so many moving pieces in order to decide what comes next for the winter season, the fall 2, or the wedge season that will be played from February into the end of February into the early part of April. That's where you're going to see any sports from this fall season that got moved. The, of course, ones being football and volleyball being the ones that people are most most interested in seeing where those are going to end up. You, of course, have some sports that, after getting the new guidelines from the state level, are not going to be able to participate. Things like wrestling, still too
ice
dangerous
hockey,
under these circumstances.
Ice hockey stands.
So ice hockey and basketball, along with football, have been at least green-lit from the state level, and I don't mean the MIAA state level.
Right.
I mean the public health officials in the state government up on Beacon Hill in Boston. That now has to work its way down over the next few weeks. It's going to involve each committee for each different sport submitting their modifications, because all of those sports were given approval pending proper modification. And so all of that has to play into the decisions that get made next. We certainly look forward to the opportunity, hopefully, to bring you boys and girls basketball in the coming months when it is safe to do that. And in the meantime, like and subscribe and enjoy all the great programming of RFM. And Bill Thomas, we're not really done with Fall 1. I can tell you that today we will reach the end of Phase 1 of post-production on our golf special. Leominster and Shrewsbury battled in a golf match back in October. It has been in the lab in post-production. We're getting closer to that premiere date. Most of it ended up
on the cutting room floor.
Not at all, Bill Thomas. A lot of great coverage to come. People are going to enjoy the heck out of this special coverage of RFM Golf. Leominster and Shrewsbury coming up. Stay tuned. Facebook.com/Media Rivalry, @Media Rivalry out there on Twitter, as well as on YouTube. Like and subscribe to Rivalry Family Media today. And when that golf special goes up, you're not going to want to miss it. Really an exciting battle we're looking forward to bringing you from Gardner Municipal Golf Course. We have really looking forward to sharing that coverage with you. And then, of course, coming up in the ensuing weeks as we get...
You're going to tease anything?
More teasing, Bill Thomas. Why not?
There could be something on Thanksgiving.
We've got the potential
totally out of the realm,
for Thanksgiving coverage coming somewhere along the way. So we're looking forward to that. And we know that one way or another, we will have some special coverage for Thanksgiving as well, celebrating this Leominster-Fitchburg rivalry that is obviously, for the moment, placed on hold. Keep your Easter weekend open as we go towards springtime. But we'll have some special coverage acknowledging that great rivalry as well here on RFM. Please be a part of it when we provide that to the community. Facebook.com/Media Rivalry. And again, like and subscribe at Rivalry Family Media on YouTube, and then at Media Rivalry.
So you know us, the subscription's free.
That's right.
Just, you know, use the code word Todd. Code word Todd.
It is a no-cost, over-the-top streaming service. How much better can you get for this kind of action? We really appreciate working with all of the great coaches here in Leominster, along with Athletic Director Dave Palazzi, Chris Kine, who was their social media director this year here at Leominster Athletics. It's been fantastic to work with all of them and form this partnership between RFM and Leominster High School Athletics to provide this coverage to the communities that are involved in this pod, as well as to our community here in the Leominster-Fitchburg area. So once again, for the final time here from historic Doyle Field, Leominster, a 2-1 winner in boys soccer pod playoff action. For Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins at home, I am Todd Robbins, saying thank you so very much for joining us and being a part of our family over the last couple of hours. Until next time, so long, everybody.